As you heard from Shahan, if trends continue, coalition politics are set to become the norm. Certainly in Gauteng, political parties are bracing for talks, smaller parties emerging as possible kingmakers in the province. Let's get an update on the latest results from ENC's Masego Ratlaga. She's at the Provincial Results Centre in Alberton. Masego, so we've got three big metros here in Gauteng, and those are always the last to come in because there are so many people that need to be counted. What's the latest on results that you can tell us?
Well, Sally, one important thing that I need to mention about Gauteng that was disappointing for the IEC and, of course, probably very disappointing for the different political parties as well is that in Gauteng we have 6.1 million registered voters. It's the most that we have in the entire country in this small province compared to the other countries. But in terms of voter turnout, we were at 58% in 2016, and back then already there was a concern about a low voter turnout, but this time it went down even further, Sally, with 40.1% voter turnout. So you can see that South Africans are quite upset, and asking the IEC, they said they think it's because people are basically just gaining intelligence in terms of politics and have decided that they don't even want to bother voting, which of course you and I know is the wrong decision to make. But let's look at the question that you've just asked me right now. You're correct, Sally, 49% nationally in terms of counts have been completed. But if we go into Gauteng, we know that the three major provinces where there's been a lot of competition is what a lot of people are interested in. The new kingmakers, Sally, so far, looking at the results, are Action SA. 43% of Gauteng's metros have been completed. Action SA, the new kid on the block, is literally sixth on that list with fifth on that list, Sally, with 7.27%. And actually, to correct myself, Sally, they go even above FF plus. So that means they're actually fourth, right after the EFF. But if we look at the city of Johannesburg, for instance, Sally, that is where they're performing quite well. And I'm talking about them because I heard Shahan speaking to their national spokesperson. So the ANC in this particular metro, Johannesburg, that is at 35.5%, followed by the DA at 24.1%. And then Action SA at 17.3%. But we know that these two political parties, it looks like, with what we're seeing now, of course, Sally, it looks like one of them will have to have a conversation with Action SA. And Action SA has repeatedly said that it's not interested in a coalition with the ANC. So it'll be interesting to see if they go into a coalition with the DA, especially because we remember how the DA divorced from him and Mashaba, or the other way around. But let's take you to the city of Tshwane, Sally. And in that city, a lot of people were wondering if the president of the ANC, Cyril Ramaphosa, and his continuous campaigning in that particular metro would change anything. It doesn't look like it when we look at the numbers here, but of course it's only 20% completed. The DA leading there at almost 38%, with the ANC following at 29%. But what's interesting and important with this one, despite the fact that Action SA again appears in the top 5 of this list, what's interesting is how close the EFF and FF Plus are in this particular metro. If you look at the EFF at 9.6%, followed by the FF Plus at 8.9%. But throughout this day, Sally, when I was looking at these numbers, these two political parties have been head-to-head for that third position in the Tshwane metro. So obviously the FF Plus, in terms of a coalition, will definitely be one of those parties that will be spoken to. So definitely in Gauteng, we are expecting quite a lot of negotiations between these political parties. And lastly, Sally, the city of Ekurhuleni, the highest in terms of the counting that has been completed at 55% so far, with the ANC leading at 38.3%, but still not enough for them to actually govern that city. So the DA follows at 29% and the EFF at 13%. But again, you see Action SA coming in fourth there. So definitely Action SA and FF Plus will be those two political parties that these other political parties will need to speak to in these important metros. And of course the IFP actually also improving, Sally, compared to what happened to them back in the 2016 local government elections. They were telling me actually today that they have already even taken some wards from the ANC. They believe that they're done with those wards because those wards have been counted at 100%. So, Sally, as you can see there, a lot of yellow in the city of Ekurhuleni, which represents the DA, but unfortunately not enough compared to the ANC so far at 38.3%. So very interesting. In Gauteng, it's going to be very interesting, especially Mfuleni. It looks like it's also going on the side of the DA. Obviously, the people there are very tired. That city has been put under administration for so long now. I think the people are tired of getting no service.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And I was just having a chuckle to myself when you were talking about the IFP, which, of course, traditionally has always had a strong showing in KwaZulu-Natal. I'm pretty sure it's had something to do with that massive billboard that the IFP put up just on the way back from the airport here in Johannesburg. But very interesting to see how Action SA, clearly its stronghold is in Johannesburg, but also fairly decent showing so far in the other two metros in our province. Really very interesting times indeed. And Ekurhuleni, of course, in the 2016 election, it was the closest for the ANC. They missed their majority. They got 49%, DA 34%, EFF 11%, and suggesting that so far it looks like it's going to be even tighter. And then, of course, Tshwane in 2016, the DA got 43%, the ANC 41%. So it was tight back then. It looks like it might be even tighter this time around. Thank you so much for giving us that update on the Gauteng areas. ENCA's Masego Ratlaga at the Gauteng Provincial Results Centre in Alberton.